In this tutorial, we will introduce two test modules, Diff Trip Time Characteristic and Diff Harmonic Restraint. The Diff Trip Time Characteristic test module checks the trip time of the protection device. The Diff Harmonic Restraint module tests the behavior of the differential protection for the harmonic restraint. Starting with the Diff Trip characteristic, verify that the current outputs and the trip signal are enabled in the local hardware configuration. The test view provides 4 tabs to parameterize the test. The binary outputs can be activated or deactivated from this tab. In this test module, you can use different tolerance values than those you specified in the Rio block differential. If you want to enter new tolerance values, check the Use Evaluations Factors box and fill out the entry fields below. Select Apply to enable the voltage output of the selected winding. In the General tab, you can define a pre-fault state and choose the trigger condition. In the Other Settings section, you can choose the windings to be tested. Keep in mind that the fault side is always assigned to the reference winding defined in the Rio block differential. Furthermore, you can set the test line slope, which represents the relationship between the differential and bias currents. Based on this value, Test Universe calculates the bias current for the test. In the operating characteristic diagram, the test line is displayed. Make sure that this line is above the line of the characteristic. This ensures that the trip time can be assessed. Usually, it is not necessary to change the default setting for the test line slope. In the Test tab, you place the shots to test the trip time. We will test a 3-phase fault as an example. The time tolerances are indicated by the red dashed lines in the trip time test plane. To define the test points, you can either enter the differential current in the entry field or right-click on the diagram to add a test point. If you want to add a series of points, use the Add Sweep option. In this case, you must define the start and end values. Enter the step size and add the points to the table. When the test is executed, the test module displays the trip times and evaluates them. We see that the relay trips faster if the test point is above the high set value. In this area, the relay trips independent of the bias current. Now it is time to open the Diff Harmonic Restraint test module. Again, verify that the current outputs and the trip signal are enabled in the local hardware configuration. In a similar way to the other test modules, the General tab allows you to apply a post-fault, a voltage output, and change the trigger condition. In the Diff Harmonic Restraint test module, you can perform a search test or a shot test. It is not possible to run both in the same test module, so we will show you the shot test first. This test makes an estimation of the blocking and non-blocking zones of the harmonic restraint function. We will do the shot test for the second harmonic. Usually, you can keep the default phase shift angle between the harmonic current and the differential current. If you want to use another value, enter it in the entry field. Enter the differential current and the harmonic ratio to add a test point or use the diagram. Place a shot next to the tolerances of the characteristic right at the beginning and the end of the line. In that way, you can test the slope of the harmonic restraint characteristic. Start the test to assess the test points. You can see the results for each test point. To perform a search test, we insert a new module in the OCC file. The search test allows you to find the exact position of the harmonic restraint characteristic. We perform the search test for the harmonic restraint characteristic of the fifth harmonic. To insert a test line, enter the value for the differential current or right-click into the diagram. You can also choose whether the nominal characteristic shall be ignored for the search test. If you check this box, the test module will search the characteristic of your relay along the test lines. If you do not check the box, the test module will only search the characteristic inside the tolerance borders. As expected, the exact position of the characteristic is within the tolerance band. Therefore, the search lines have been assessed as passed.